Hello, dear Starshines. Christina here with Rise of the Multi-Dimensional Human. Welcome to today's Lunchtime Chats. Our topics for today are, as we are learning to work with higher dimensional beings and realms, is there a way to know for sure, or a way to recognize if entities were entities that we're working with, if they're actually higher dimensional beings or if they're higher dimensional aspects of ourselves? So thank you, dear Starshine, for sending that question in. It's a great question. And then we'll also be talking about the journey of a light. I think, all right, typo, I beg your pardon. my journey through life as an empath feels overwhelming at times, and sometimes there is endless work to do. What is a good barometer to tell that we are making headway in our inner journey to self-awareness? So I thought that was a great question. So thank you, dear Starshine, for that one. And then we have another one. Dear Starshine sends in that video. Hopefully you guys got a chance to see the video that I posted to this group about the 2-cup manifestation methods. I'm going to be talking about an accelerated version of that. And I'm so excited to talk about this because this gives me such a clear way to explain the nature of the acceleration. So thank you, dear Starshine, for bringing my awareness to that. Let me pause real quick and say hi to everybody who's here. Oh my gosh, my scroller, of course. Julie and Lisa, Nasika, welcome. David, welcome. Hodai, Julie, Jillian, hello, darling. Elaine and Lori, welcome, dear Starshines. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to recap real quick the 2-cup manifestation method in case some of you are listening here that did not get the opportunity to check out that video that I posted in the group. I think it was yesterday. Time kind of runs all together in my recall, so I beg your pardon if I'm a little off on that. Anyway, so the 2-cup manifestation method. This is a beautiful Starshine sharing her version of that. Evidently, there's lots of versions of the 2-cup manifestation method. And when I saw that, instantly I was in recognition of sympathetic magic. This is what sympathetic magic looks like, is the method that she was describing. And as many of you know in this group, sympathetic magic has been an effective manifestation tool for quite literally tens of thousands of years in humanity. You know, from doing hunting dances, you know, in a ceremonial context, and then going out and having the hunters do, you know, bring the energy of what was danced in the ceremony out into the wilderness to get their catch, or whether it was fertility ceremonies or what have you. And actually another one comes to my mind is that I remember when I was really young, I lived in Hawaii for a period of time. And I remember having a connection with, we call it a vision. I was very young, I didn't have a context for this at all, but it was people having ceremony to dance out, to move energy around angst and anger and woundingness that the tribe was carrying. The ceremony was to move that through because the volcano that was like their nature spirit that was the guardian of their lands was looking like it was going to erupt. So they had a ceremony, and they brought all their pain and all their anguish and all of their, you know, energies into the ceremony, and sacred dancers, trance dancers and stuff like this would go and come in and do their dance, you know, do their work as far as moving energy through the physical body. Now, not until, you know, of course, decades later do I make sense of what that vision was about. But I have a feeling that I saw that when I was a kid because there were people doing that. There was a group somewhere on the islands that was doing that, and I was just, you know, in that wavelength of perception, and that's why I saw it, even though I had no understanding of what was really going on, you know. So there's that kind of thing. And so to recap, let me get back to recap. So how this goes is you have 2 empty glasses of water, and in 1 glass of water you write down, I'm sorry, you have 2 empty glasses. I know I always say this backwards. You have 2 empty glasses, And in one glass, you put down the state that you're in, or, you know, what state you're in, or the situation that is undesirable. And then you put down one of those kinds, you know, one of those types of things. What is undesirable? I'll just say not wanted. Okay. All right. So this is on a piece of paper, whatever it is you write, and you put it right here on this glass. And then you take another piece of paper and you write what it is that you want. Maybe it's healing, maybe it's money, maybe it's a creative idea, maybe it's a state of being, whatever. So you write down the state of being that you want to bring forward, and or the desired material or whatever that you want to manifest. Okay, you put that in this glass, and then you know, kind of sticky note it, right? And then you pour water into this glass, H2O. This is important because remember from past talks, elementals, atoms, molecules have consciousness. They don't have personality, they have consciousness. So water is life. Can we all agree that is so? Water is life, okay? And then if you break this down, you have oxygen equaling love, and you have 2 hydrogens. I'll put them over here. Okay. Now, as we know, gratitude opens doorways for things to come through. So you being in gratitude for being here on the planet, being with the Pachamama, that opens doorways for you to receive frequencies, songs, love of the Pachamama. Okay. Same thing with the human being, same thing with the tree, same thing with the animal being, whatever. Okay. So gratitude is this magical state of consciousness that moves things. And water has 2 folds of this consciousness. So the hydrogen is the gratitude. Gratitude. Okay, sorry, I got a little messy in there. Okay, so then we have 2 gratitudes. I'm breaking this down because it's really important for you guys to see what I'm talking about. It's going to blow your mind, I promise. I'm serious. I had we'll just say some people in my entourage came forward like, you have to talk about this. and they're like, the interdimensional entourage is super excited to have this brought forward into some of your guys' awareness, because this is a game changer in your healing practice. If you're a healer, this is a game changer, I promise. Okay, so water is life. And what is life but love and gratitude with a momentum carrying it forward, which is that extra hydrogen, which is that extra gratitude, okay? So in essence, what you are doing when you are pouring water into this cup, you are pouring life. You are pouring love and gratitude, the consciousness of love and gratitude into this cup. And this cup of water is now getting informed with the sentiment and the energies that you put in, that's in these statements here. And just to, you know, add some little tidbits of acceleration, you don't even have to put words. You can put anagrams here. You can put sigils here. So, I mean, there's when it comes to magical works, you guys know there's no limit. There's no limit. Your imagination is what it's all about, you know. That's where your limits are, is what you can and cannot imagine. So you could put a sigil, you could put a sacred seal, you could put whatever you want on here. It doesn't have to be words, but for simplification purposes, it's words. So you're pouring life into this cup that is now getting programmed to this state. Okay, this is where the sympathetic magic comes in. You sit in how you feel when you're in this particular state. You bring your awareness inside of yourself and feel what this undesirable thing or this thing you want to change. You feel all the feelings, you feel all the things going inside. What a lot of people aren't aware of is that there's a lot more going on than what your mind is touching. Okay, there's a lot more happening here energetically than just what the mind is recognizing happening. Okay, so it's very important to let that be so in your awareness. Just surrender to the fact that there is a lot more happening than what you can be aware of. Okay, so you're in that state of being. And then when you're ready, when you're really in the feeling, you're aware of how all these layers are feeling, including your soul's voice, you then take the water from this cup and you pour it into this cup. And this, now you are taking the pure life force energy that is organized by this reality, and then you're pouring it into this cup that then becomes organized to this reality that you wrote here. And while you're pouring, you are being careful to pay attention. You are being careful to keep your awareness inside of here so you can feel, sense, taste, know what is firing off. Now, the data sets that happen when the transference from here to here, the less mental they are, the more potent and powerful they are in the manifestation. Okay, because remember, the mental field is a very narrow bandwidth to the spectrum of your existence of who you are. Okay, and our brain, our biosuits exist on many levels of existence, not just where the mind is, right? So we have this vastness to us. So you pour the water into here while you are feeling what's going on here, and then you are effectively taking sympathetically the resonance from this reality, taking it to this reality, and reinforming it on many, many ways, on many levels. And then when you feel that process is complete, the pouring is complete, you drink the water. And what that does is this water now reinforms the waters of your body. This water is organized by thoughts, feelings, and other aspects of your spirit, of your who you are on a multidimensional level. That water has now changed its structure and its organization, and it's now in this frequency. And by you drinking it, you are taking this into the biosuit. Because after all, the change does not happen out here until it is so inside of here. Okay? Very, very important. So you're drinking this, and as you drink this, you also need to keep your awareness, what's happening inside of your body while you're drinking this, while this reinforming process is happening to the biosuit. Now, if you have a lot of resistance to what it is you want to manifest, you're going to get a lot of very interesting data sets. You're going to get maybe a stomach ache, or maybe you kind of want to choke on the water, or maybe the water won't taste so sweet, stuff like this. All these are very important data sets. Now, and I have a story about this. There was she was a Nepalese medicine woman that came into town. I live in the Boulder area, Malay Lama. And she talked about, so she was a medicine woman. She used to be taken, kidnapped every time she was out in the fields with the herds, ever since she was 12 years old, by this master being, a wild man, she called him. And he would take her through mountains and, just take her through all these interdimensional experiences, and over time eventually trained her. And her medicine is really about rhythms and song. And well, many other things, of course. And I remember we were up at a friend's kiva up here in Gold Hill, and she was doing a ceremony, and we were doing our prayers, doing what we were doing. And then afterwards, she had this Florida type of homemade water, sacred water that you spit, and she does this, and she goes, and then she laughs and laughs and laughs with so much joy. And it was contagious. We all felt the joy and we all laughed. And she says, "This tastes so sweet. This means that we did this all in a good way, in alignment with all of the spirits of who we are." Now, this is older paradigm talk to the multidimensionality, but she's like, "What we did was right for all of who we are. Spirits approve. So therefore it tastes sweet." Okay, so a similar kind of thing will happen with this. So I want to show you guys the accelerated version of this. And this is where I'm super excited. Oh, wait a minute. Before I go down that road, let me pause and say hi to the new ones, the new people joining us. Hello, darling Lilac. Hello, Sharon. All right, Laurel, welcome, welcome. Julian, Alicia, welcome, welcome, guys. Christy and Travis and Stephanie. Christy says, I'm laughing because of the plant activation and someone sending me a water song, and water is life video earlier. Yes, that's so awesome. See, we're all in concert. We're all in this beautiful symphony. And I think that it gets clearer and clearer as you become clearer inside. That's awesome to hear. Hello, Isabella. Welcome, welcome. And Sean, welcome. Abby, welcome. Hi, everyone, she says. And Kristen and Ray Ellen, darling. Jillian, missed some of this one. You are actually putting a written upon a piece of paper into the water and then drinking the water. Yes, that's what you're doing. You drink the water. Okay, as a sacred act, okay, as a sacred act. This whole thing is a very mindful sacred act. Welcome, Jen. Welcome, Ginny and Jim, and hello, darlings. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm so glad to have you guys here. All right, so we went through each step, right? And then you drink the water, right? So you have your old state of being and the new state of being, or written desires, whatever. You go from the old into the new, and then from here to here. And it's a sacred act. In the old paradigm, this would be a great big magical working. I mean, with calling on the elementals and doing sacred space and honoring the Lord and the Lady, or the earth and the sky, or whatever your tradition, you know, whatever the formula your tradition taught you how to open sacred space. But we're in different times right now, and it's highly accelerated. So a lot of this, a lot of us are in that axis, in that level of ourselves, walking through our everyday world without the ceremony, right? So there's a lot of pieces that we don't necessarily need to do. And then, so in this way, it's already accelerated, but I'm going to exponentially accelerate it. Exponentially accelerate it for you guys. And here's the story before I apply it to this, before I apply the acceleration to this. I have so much privilege in my life, I can't even tell you. I have been blessed by masters, like masters after master, and you know, and I feel, in retrospect, it's like I don't really feel like I deserve to be reached out to and gifted these beautiful things, you know, but then somehow it happened, and I feel immensely blessed by this. And so one of those masters that I was working with, a beautiful, profound being, we were working with tracking, and she's an accelerator, a version of an accelerator like I am. And she was showing us how to track into life streams. So we were working in a pod, like how we usually do in the project, you know, in the Dreamtime project, Dreamtime Healing Project, Bosso, and the acceleration training. So we were working in pods like that. And our person was on the table, and I was tracking into it with another colleague friend, and we were looking at the life streams. And we kind of were feeling stuck. We really didn't know what to do, where to go. And like the life streams were presenting, but we're kind of like not really getting more information from there. And so our teacher comes over, her name was Bonnie. She comes over, we explain where we're at, and she's like, ah, okay. And so she goes on to explain that, you know, the original way that you're taught, you'll go into this life stream, and then you'll call up on the lifetimes that have a contribution to creating this particular kind of reality that you're clearing for this person, that you're helping them resolve and become clear from, right? And she's like, but watch this. And so we were all watching the live stream, you know, while she goes in and does her work. And this is what she says, or this is what she shows us. It's like, first bring that lifetime up. Now there's a kind of a formula where you connect with the lifetime, you connect with the person, you connect with the story, you know, you kind of connect with the dynamics going on. And then, and after you do that, you kind of fast forward to the time that the person dies. And then you help them, you're there for their crossing over. You're there for them at their moment of death, and you help them cross over. And in that, resolve all the different contracts and energy exchanges and blah, 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 blah happened in that lifetime. Okay. And then, so that's how that gets resolved. And then when you're done, there's all kinds of quantum that comes back with you from resolving the pent up energy in that lifetime. But for whatever reason, that loop was going on, right? Well, but what she does is that she goes into the live stream while we're watching, and she pulls all the lifetimes up at once that had a contribution to this thing, this situation that we're clearing for the person on the pot in the table. Pulls them all up at once, and we see them, and we see these nodes like pop up all at once. So it was like a universe inside of a universe, you know, popping up. And she says, your spirit, all your dimensional levels of who you are, already knows how to resolve each one of these lifetimes. You know the formula. All of your aspects are doing something in that. It's not just who you think you are. It's not just the words that you're saying. All of you is doing that. All of you is in the contribution of creating that unraveling. That means the other aspects of who you are beyond who you think you are, right? The multidimensional level of our being. Let me draw that real quick. So I activate it for you guys. Okay. Real quick activation of this. So I want to make sure all of you's here for when I show you this. And this is definitely going to bump up against some belief systems, but that's okay. It's totally okay. This is going to blow your freaking dream time out of the water. All right. So she's like, you are addressing these scenarios with all of who you are. Now, who you are is right here. There's all this other part you're not aware of. So she calls up all the lifetimes at once. And there's one lifetime over here. She snaps her fingers. Completely unravels. Life force energy comes back. She goes to another one. Completely unravels. Life force energy comes back. And my friend and I were looking at each other. We're like, wow. Like that. And she's like, oh yeah, don't worry. You're going to be able to do like this and more. And then she goes, she's like, watch, wait a minute, there's more. And she says, watch. And we go back in, we're seeing the live streams. This time, all the live streams are in our awareness. And she goes like this. And this amazing life strail, I mean, huge tsunami of life force comes back. And all of those lifetimes that were relevant to the issue got cleared at once. At once. That is the acceleration, my friends, okay? All of us are capable of this once we can let go of the idea that who we think we are, our face, is the one doing something. When you can let go of that idea, there is a massive, infinite level or libraries of capabilities that are available to you, okay? It is. I know I got some anger faces in there, but listen, this is the truth. You are this magnificent being wearing a biosuit, and your capabilities are far beyond anything you've ever imagined. Live that, and your life's going to turn into one big magical journey. Really, live that, and your life's going to turn into a magical journey. And something like this can look like this. Now, this is my version. You do whatever version works for you. You may want to take slower steps, but this is what I'm going to do with my cup right here, my cup of magic. In this case, it's Magic Joe. Because I can go in and listen to my rhythms and hear my heartbeat. I can feel the radiance, the songs of the mother, the Pachamama, the Mother Earth. I can feel many pulses within this pulse. And I can feel the pulse of my waters, the waters of my body. Now, the waters of my body takes many forms. And I'm going to ask my biosuit to show me the waters of my body that are ready to be reinformed with my next step of intention or my next desired state of being. Okay? Yes. And when I do this, my rhythms get very big. It's like my entire body's pulsing. I can feel the pulsing go and touch this cup. I can feel the pulsing, yes, come in contact with the fluid in the cup. And as it does that, the smile gets bigger, bigger, bigger inside, bigger, bigger, bigger. And then I have in my awareness the state or the desire that would normally go right here. I have it in my awareness. I'm in my axis. I can feel the truth in my spirit for this reality, serving my purpose. Mm-hmm. And that's the accelerated way. Go ahead and check in with you guys. Hi, Caitlin. Welcome, welcome. All right, Hody. Okay, Hodai's helping Jillian there. Claudia, welcome. Michelle, welcome. Okay, just more people joining. I'm searching for comments here. Jim Lynn says goosebumps. Yes, deep breath, Alicia. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Dear Lisa. Oh, dear Lisa Starshine says, I feel like you just explained my last few days. The rubber band snap is profound awareness. Wowza. Love you, darling. I love it. Yeah, it's awesome. Wonderful. Okay, I'm scrolling through here. Oops. Okay, so wow. Okay, so several people were very moved about what I just said. Isabella says, funny thing, I was drinking water and looking at a gulp and it tasted so sweet. Yes, yes, very good. Hi, welcome, welcome, Carrie, welcome, welcome. Okay, lovely. So the liberation process is liberating ourselves from ourselves, really. The liberation process is getting over who we think we are and all the stories and stepping into who we really are and allowing that to be our state of being when we're walking through our world. There are no limits to what we can manifest. And here's the thing, we don't care about money. Most of us don't care about material things like multidimensionals. Most of us are about being happy, feeling fulfilled, living our purpose. You know, those are the priorities we have. A healthy environment, nurturing life. Those are our value systems. So we use oftentimes our abilities to serve those means, you know, because this is this right here. I'm going to go further into that a little bit later in the talk. So how does that make sense what I said, guys? I love it. I love it. Bump. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. So the next thing is I want to go on to that next topic about the as we're learning to work with other dimensional beings. This is also another aspect that is really comes into your life full force when you're awakening to these other levels of who you are, right? So, and these beings can come into your dream time. They can be like your sleeping dream time, but they also can come during your waking dream time too. And those of us who go in and out of altered states rather easily, you know, that daytime dream, that day dream time thing is pretty close to, you know, very easily. So what happens here is that she's asking, is there a way to recognize for sure that a being is another being and not another dimensional aspect of you? Okay. And there's lots to be said here. There's lots to be said here. I'm going to start with the human experience, okay? So she's asking this from an individuation experience of these beings. So she's a infinite being in a human body, in a form, and she's having these other interactions go on, right? Now, as a human, to bring things into 3D understanding, into the human collective, this is as a human, when we're pulling this stuff forward, this is like one of the gifts that we offer the collective to loosen things up. So it's important what she's asking. It's like, how do you know for sure? And what I want to say about that is that there's only one way to know for sure, and that is to look at it through multiple perspectives. Okay. And this is where the idea of a council will come in, or like what we do in the dream pods. You have multiple people looking at the same energy, sharing what they see. And it's only when you have a council of perspective are you going to be able to get the most well-rounded perspective of the exchange of what the nature of this being is? Okay, and maybe you don't have a dozen people you can turn to. I think the ideal number is 13, 12 or 13, but you might have 3 or 4 people or 2 or 3 people that you can share with and get perspective. And what's important about the perspective that's shared, that it's not a mental projection of what people think it is. They're not trying to define it. They're just sharing the data sets they get when they're looking at it, you know? And when you get multiple perceptions being shared, it looks like this, it feels like that, you know what I mean, like that, then that's going to give you more and more data. That's going to give you more and more perspective, because they're not speaking from a mental frame up. They're speaking from their abstract levels of self, like this, from the feeling, sensing levels. And the data sets that they're giving you verbally are hyperdimensional. They're like little zip files if you're open and can feel those other levels, like the energy behind the words that they're using. That is how you tell for sure. The best that for sure can mean, you know what I mean? Because ultimately we are all the same being. Ultimately, we are all the same living, breathing universe. We are the same, you know, living, breathing planet, same living, breathing solar ring. So like ultimately up here on this level, right, we're all one. But when you're in these other levels, it's like there's a purpose that these beings are interacting with you, and you want to feel empowered on the levels of the awareness that you have access to, right? So this is where we bring in perspective, other ways of looking at it, and that's how you're going to get the clearer picture. There's never just one view or 2 views. It's the more angles that you can see something, the more data and clarity will come. Let me check in. Welcome. We have a couple comments here. All right. Stephanie says, yes, thank you. Lisa says, during the activation, I felt a gyrating force bouncing from the left to the right in a gleeful manner. Okay. Oh, thank you, Hodai. Thank you. Carrie says, hello, missed the first half. We'll definitely revisit. It feels like it was fantastic. Thank you, Carrie. That's awesome. Thanks. Okay, cool. Yeah, so there is a lot of, when you're getting clarity on things, it requires, if you truly want clarity, a lot of people just want to understand. They don't want clarity. They want to just understand. So just defining something, put a label on it, they're happy with that. And you know, that's it. But as a multidimensional, it's like we value clarity because how do I say that? Hold on a second. Let me get better words for this. We want clarity so we are clear on our sovereignty and our choices that we make. You know, it's like, it's clearly a choice. It's not a reactive or a herding or when I say herding, I mean like herding sheep, right? It's not like being funneled. You know what I mean? You're seeing something with clarity so you can take sovereign action as a being on that level, you know, a competent being or sovereign competent being on that level. If you just want something defined for you in a label, it's like you still want to be told what to do. You still want to be reassured, you know, and this is all a journey. I mean, we still visit needing to be reassured here and there because that's part of the human experience, but that's not what drives us. You know, that's not what really where we rest. We know that we are more than what we think we are. And oh, and by the way, this right here, you guys might want to play with it because, all right, so the reason why the acceleration will work when you do this, I'm sorry I didn't say this before, is because you have an experience of doing it. So do it like this first and then do it how I did it here, okay? Because you need an experience of it first, so all your levels are informed of the experience, and then you can do the acceleration of it. And this is another vein of why the old ways are so important, because you need to experience the old ways. You need to experience, like, say, like how, like the wisdom teachings of the Red Road, or the wisdom teachings that come with certain masters from the East, you know, stuff like this. It's like we need those old ways so we have the context of the experience, but then we can keep going. You know what I mean? That's not the limit to it at all. That's just the beginning. That's the seed of it all. Okay. Okay, let me get to the next piece here. We have, okay, yeah, this journey through life as an empath is overwhelming and sometimes it feels endless. I totally get that. I totally get that. And I was once in this spot myself. And a few years ago, actually, I was in this conversation with a friend. Actually, it was that same teacher I was talking about, and expressing the same thing, that, God, I feel like I can get clearings forever. Why, this is what the hell, It's like, what's the point of acceleration if like you can't stop once you start? It's like feels like an obligation or I have to. It was like, it wasn't a joyful road, right? And then, and what happened, well, while I was saying that, it occurred to me about about what was important for my empowerment in a lifetime. And one of the masters that I worked with long ago said, and some of the masters I worked with were in person, but some were also in dream time, said to me that, it's about retaining your memory. It's about, for mastery, the first level of mastery for a human in the first level of immortality, what they call immortality, is being able to retain your memories between lifetimes. So when you leave this lifetime, and if you choose to come back to another lifetime here, because it really is a choice, if you're awake when you pass, then you will, when you come back again, you will retain your memories. But it's important to have a conscious death and not get caught in the bardos or in the belief systems of what we have about the afterlife. You know what I mean? It's like following the truth of your spirit from the time from when you leave from this body and go into the other worlds. And in essence, going back to the sun, getting reinformed with another level of purpose and expression and la 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 la. And if it fits your desire on that level to be on Earth, you're going to be on Earth. But if you, in order for you to live what it is you desire at that level, can't be on Earth, if instead of, from the sun, you'll end up going to the Pleiades, or from the sun, you'll end up going to Andromeda or to Arcturus or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like whatever is the vibrational match to the desire that you have on that level, that is where you're going to incarnate. And what has happened on this planet is that humans have or souls incarnating in bodies have gotten captured here. So they can't leave all the way because there's aspects of them lost in the bardos, in the purgatory, in the hell realms, in the underworlds, in the, you know what I mean? All these things that we have going on in our belief systems and in our woundings and in the fall of our consciousness and all this stuff. So there's that part of it, retaining your memories from lifetime to lifetime. That's first level of immortality. And then there's other levels beyond that. But once I woke up, that master said to me in the dream, once I woke up I had the ability to die consciously and retain my memories from lifetime to lifetime, that like ended everything for me. It was like all of a sudden I realized that I was doing this work for my purpose. I was not doing this work for the fear of not making it. Okay. And so this is a really important piece, because when you are, trying to, if you're doing things out of fear, if you're doing your work out of fear of dying, fear of this, fear of that, then it turns into this arduous journey that is, you still have lots of support, you have all the support you need, but it's still this not a pleasant way to go through the day from day to day to day. But when you start doing this so you can honor and take action in the here and now in your purpose, then all of a sudden the clearing that you're doing, the work that you're doing has a purpose beyond yourself. You see what I'm saying? It's like it becomes a path of joy, a path of liberation, a path of celebration, So that's an important piece to keep in mind, that why we're doing what we're doing. This is a big piece. And the thing about the self-awareness, is there a barometer to tell where you are in your self-awareness? It's super simple. It is super simple, and it's this. Look around your house, look around at your family, look around at your friends, look around at your community. Now, when you look at all those things and you feel criticism, or you feel gratitude, or you feel supported, or you feel, this struggle or that struggle, right? This is all you. Everything that you're seeing here is, you are seeing it as you are. You are seeing it as you are. So that means that lens of who you think you are is flavoring all the light that's coming to you from these other interactions, from these other people. You know, yeah, there's people that are on their path of being whatever, you know, oppressive or whatever, but your relationship to that is your responsibility and nobody else's. Your relationship to that is up to you, nobody else. Okay, so, oh, and great example, okay, now, okay, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm gonna kick hornet's nest real quick, and let me check in with what people, I'm gonna pause before I do it and say hello, hello. All right, Alicia says, that's a big deal, everything, really. Yes, everything, yes. All right, thanks, Lievert. Thank you, Leafy. All right. Alsjeblieft, Leafy. There we go. Okay, so the example I was going to give. So there was a resurgence of a video that I did September 5th on this group. I think someone was going through the video archives and made some comments in some of the older videos, so it came back up higher in the feed. And I noticed it was the one from that happened right after the Psychic Sasquatch retreat. And and me in my usual kind of style, you know, I'm kicking the horn. I mean, I'm praising so many things, but I'm also kicking the hornet's nest at the same time. This is the example of you see things how you are, not how it actually is, right? Everything is flavored by your lens that you see things through. And one of the things I talked about a lot of things, like, you know, how awesome it was for people to have contact of the fifth kind. So many people got opened up to other realities, and it was really beautiful on so many levels. And there was also power over dynamics going at play in what I call dark forces, and I was, you know, putting my finger on that. Now that video was a while ago, and so since I have to look at it in 2020 retrospect, right, I see now why it was so offensive. Because I got, guys, it was amazing. I got the most hate mail I have ever had in my entire life because of that one video. And I've also got like so many thank yous for that video. So it was like, there was two camps. One camp completely offended and felt like I was trying to tear down their community, and other people were like, yes, you said everything we couldn't put our finger on. Yes, thank you. You know what I mean? This is an example of seeing things of how you are. You know, the camp over here, they saw what was true in their frequency, what they could see. This camp over here, they saw what was true to their frequency, what they could see. You see what I mean? So it had nothing to do actually with my intentions or what I was speaking. It really had everything to do with where these other people are in relationship to the vibration I'm holding, right? Because everything is about relationship, always, always, always. That's why there is no good, there is no bad. It's liberating when you start to look to, when you can let go of that lens and try and decide if something's good or bad. Hopefully you guys can feel what I'm saying with that. So let me pause for a moment. Do some of you guys know what I'm talking about? You guys know that the video I'm talking about? Well, thank you, darling, for all those hearts. Thank you. Us saying yes to our hyperdimensionality ups the bar. And it also gives us perspectives that are completely out of left field for many humans. This is changing. This is totally changing. But, you know, in general, when we interact with other humans, it's kind of the quality of experience. It's like how we see things is so out of focus for them. It's like a year ago, I put in a comment in a community called the Galactic Federation. And my comment actually wasn't even a comment, it was a question. My question was, has anybody here has anybody here gone through the chakra removal process? Okay, now this is a a group of light workers, right? And I was really curious, where are people at in that? What do they do? Who's experienced this? And most of it was people being like, that's freaking impossible. You're ridiculous. I mean, people were calling me a troll, you know. There was all these like really negative closed down comments. Meanwhile, I'm getting personal messaged by people in that group, more than a dozen, that had gone through the process, but they didn't want to share it because of how hostile the reaction was in the group. And I said something like, you know, how can we have a conversation if only the naysayers who never went through the experience are the ones dominating it? You know, I'm asking for the ones who've had the experience. Please share your experience. And instead, I got all the ones that were naysayers about it and talking about how ridiculous the idea was, you know? It's like, no one can have a clear conversation when that's going on, right? But they were seeing my question from the state of how they are. And how they are is entrenched in the belief systems that they have on how reality works, you know? Seriously. They have their system of how reality works. And if anything challenges that, they're going to react with hostility. And this is something for us to watch and learn from, because when we have hostile response to things, we need to look at ourselves, because remember, it's all about how you are. We need to look at ourselves and question ourselves, what part of us wants to reject that and not allow ourselves to understand? You know, what is rejecting our ability to hold both realities in our awareness at the same time? What is in us that rejects that possibility? So in that way, these interactions that happen out here are these blessings that bring us deeper to inside of ourselves, and these are places we wouldn't get to without that interaction out here. You see what I mean? Because we are empowered beings. We can look inside of ourselves, and we understand on many levels that there is no right or wrong. This out here is all unfolding for us. This is our dialogue with the entire universe out here. And synchronicity works through every aspect of our reality, no matter if it's electronic, AI, no matter if it's organic, coming from the earth, from the plants. It all is part of the universe. It's all part of the reality, and nothing is not in that, part of that reality. So synchronicity, the what people say, divine flow, all that works through everything that's around us. Not just the ones who are conscious, not just the ones that are this way or that way. It works through everything and everybody. So I guess that's what I want to say about that. Maybe this is a little liberated, helps you guys a little bit get liberated from some of these heavy things that we have in our lives, those burdens, that intensity of life, you know. Jillian says, yes, we need more sentient, non-reactive civil disclosure. I like that, thank you. Heal those afraid emotions, those inner kids. Yeah, so once we get liberated from having to be right or wrong about something, then we can start playing with our power, the power of our presence. We can start playing with having multiple things in our awareness at the same time, you know. So you have your axis in your awareness. There's great love here. There's great stability here. There's great honor here. When you're in this part of yourself, it's like it's so clear how everything around you, by you honoring it, you're communing, you're connecting with it, right? When you're in your axis like this. Now, when you can have that in your awareness and your human understanding of who you are in your awareness and the interactions that are going on in front of you in your awareness, when you can have all these pieces in your awareness at the same time, you become extremely liberated, compassionate, and loving. And it affects everybody around you because your peace never goes away, yet you're interacting. You see what I mean? So it's kind of like you can be your multidimensional nature, jump with all these awarenesses, like, kind of like acrobatics. And when you do this energetically, you don't get overwhelmed. Energetically, you never lose yourself to the crowd, to the moment, and you're still being authentic. And that's the big piece, being authentic. Because when these hyperdimensional fields are opening and they're open and you're walking through the world, that makes every thought and feeling around you amplified and more impactful. So not just your thoughts and feelings, but the thoughts and feelings of the beings around you. Which I think why a lot of people like to shield to maybe mitigate some of that. But I am a fan of Hyoka. Let me tell you that. I am a fan of coyote medicine. And I'm talking about real coyote medicine. And so I kind of get a kick out of it. I laugh. I laugh when I see certain things kind of like have an explosion just because I walked into the room or whatever, maybe that's not compassionate. I don't know, but I approach it with humor. And actually I approach this with humor because then I can really meet them in a place that's soft rather than because listen, if you guys, this is a piece I really want to leave you guys with, okay? The truth. There's those of us that use the truth as a weapon. Okay? We use the truth to on another being. And that's when truth is a sword. And there's those of us that use truth to bring healing, to use truth to bring liberation. And it's a very fine line between the two. The quality of space you are holding inside of yourself when you're in those moments means everything. 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 Let me check in here. Hello, Lisa says your articulating is on fire. Woohoo! Thank you, darling. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Really, I feel so blessed. I was actually just having this conversation with a friend. Let me pause real quick before I go on to the other comments I really want to read. I was speaking with a friend of mine. She's brilliant in so many ways. She's been on the spiritual path for decades, much longer than I've been alive, right? And she feels this push to really come forward and do her work, but she's having a hard time, and I asked her, I'm like, get in touch with your why. Really get in touch with your why, like that heartfelt why you're doing what you're doing. And I explained to her my why, which of course resonates with her for her why, right? and here's my why. Here's my why, guys. And I think I'm saying this because I think a lot of you will help bring clarity for a lot of you with your why. The why you're doing what you're doing, why you are doing healing work, why you're a ceremonialist, why you're a wayshore, why you're an artist, why you're a body worker, a coach, a guide, why, right? My why is that throughout my life, all right, number one, I grew up in this world as a white woman in the United States, okay? With that gives me a whole level of privilege that a lot of humans don't ever get to see in their lifetime. And I'm aware of that, okay? So, and people might think I'm talking about materialistically, and I'm not. I mean, I have been gifted so much privilege in my life with spiritual teachings, getting to meet and talk with and sit with immortals, getting taken care of in my dream time. Even, when I was younger, I was abducted regularly, and like, there's a lot of torture and a lot of trauma, all this other stuff. It's like, despite all of the pains and stuff that happened in my life, I feel immensely blessed beyond anything, like really, I'm one of the luckiest humans I feel on the planet sometimes. And that actually is my why. You know what I mean? I want to give this to all of you. I want you to be immensely blessed. I want you to know, okay, how privileged you are to be a light being in a biosuit, walking this planet, living your purpose. I want that for you because that's what was gifted to me. And when you have that inside, you can be this endless flow of sharing because you know what I mean? You can meet people in that. And what comes to you, what you have in the moment in your purpose is everything you need in that moment. Absolutely everything you need to be in your purpose for that moment is there, without exception. Thank you, darling. Thank you, darling, for all those hearts. Okay, let me get to our next comment here. Okay, it's from our dear sister Ginny. It says, so if and when we move to the fifth dimension, is there a different place or just the way we see things? What about the earth? Will she be clean in one reality? Wait a minute, let me scroll down. There's a little thingy in the way for that. What about the Mother Earth? Will she be clean in one reality and still cleansing in another? Yes. Okay, so Jenny, this is a great question. One of the things I want to mention, point out about this is that this is a linear perspective. This question is coming from a perspective of of multiple timelines, right? There's a timeline of the new earth. There's a timeline of the old, right? Okay, like this. And as a multidimensional being, I want to invite you to actually have them both in your awareness at the same time. Let them exist at the same time. Okay, there's that. And the other thing that I want to mention is that, you know, as we're as a multidimensional being on this planet that is also a multidimensional being. Okay, this planet is like the consciousness of an entire universe condensed into a planetary consciousness, right? Oh, I'm missing a graphic here. Here, let me get this up thing here. Yeah, you can. You guys know this thing, right? This is the model of how higher dimensions interact with us in 3D. Okay, whoops, that's not 3, that's a 2. 3, and this is a 4D canopy. This is the mental field. This is linear time and space. This is who we think we are, blah, 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 blah. Right? And these dots coming in are higher dimensional frequencies that get filtered through this canopy and then informs our 3D reality right here. Our 3D reality is the imbuement of our infinite nature in a biosuit. That's our 3D reality. That creates our 3D reality, that imbuement in the biosuit, the DNA dance. And our DNA is creating our reality, and our consciousness is experiencing it. Okay, so our biosuit's hyperdimensional. There's lots of realms within. And many of us, and let me know if you've been experiencing this, many of us are going in and out of the new earth and the old. We're going in and out of the new and old paradigm. Boom, boom, boom. We kind of like, for a little while we're here, a little while we're there. We kind of go back and forth, and it gets a little confusing sometimes because you're like, God, you know, it's like things that you thought you've had healed. When you're over here, you feel like everything's in line, and, you know, all things are healed. You feel great, la, 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 la. And then you kind of like dip back into this frequency because it's familiar and it's a common pattern that you've experienced for many eons through your soul's journey. And then you're over here in the old ways again. And then you're in the new, and then you're in the old, and then you're in the new. You know what I mean? You keep going back and forth. And eventually you spend more and more time in the new earth than the old. Until eventually, and then one day make the whole leap. And what makes the new earth versus the old? It is the consciousness that we are imbuing our biosuit. It is the consciousness that we are imbuing, the depth of consciousness that we are imbuing our reality with. Okay, so I'm going for a walk. As a multidimensional being, I am going for a walk. I have a smile being inside. I'm in my axis. I see the trees. I can feel their song. I'm seeing the trees. The trees remember themselves like this. The trees remember me like this. More beings in the collective are remembering us as this. I hear the birds sing. Touches my heart. My heart sings in response. That touches the collection of birds. Then, you know what I mean? So there's this life-affirming connection that keeps happening as my awareness touches things. So my awareness touches this, huge life-affirming response. My awareness touches that, a huge life-affirming response. And it turns into this beautiful concert of harmonic exchange that's all around me, not just in my field, but is all around me, right? All around and through me. In that moment, I am redefining what 3D is as I take that walk. I'm redefining it. I'm walking the new earth at that point, okay? I go into a community. Now that gets a little bit more tricky. You know, animals and nature are much easier to commune with, I have to say, because, you know, community has their love, their tiers of politics and structure. You know what I mean? There's all these other structures involved, but that's okay. When I go out into a community, I know I'm there for a purpose, and I really stick to the purpose the best that I can on that. So, but when you get a group of beings who are aware of all who they are and they get together, it's like we become redefining of the 3D world. And let me wrap up with this. Our awareness actually changes the nature of the elements, changes everything about our 3D reality and its nature. And the example I have is this. You guys have probably heard the story before, but I'm going to say it one more time, or maybe not one more, but at least this time. Sorry, I'm silly. And this is, so the story I want to tell is when I used to get together with a group of medicine people, and the size of the group it was small and big, you know, it would change, but we would have something called a fire ceremony. And what we would do is build a sacred fire. So that means every aspect of the building the fire was consciously done with prayers, done with, you know, intentions of harmony and alignment, you know. And then we would sing to the fire. We would do this gratitude exchange with the fire, called it taming the flames. And what would happen is that there was a point where the energy would shift, where the entire group, the entire group was now a frequency match with those flames, and we were all in agreement that now those flames are no longer hot. Those flames no longer burn what we don't want it to burn. And that is exactly what happened. So we're in the ceremony, we would put things in the fire. If it was our intention for it to burn, it would burn. If it was our intention for it to not burn, it wouldn't burn. We would put our hands in the fire doing our working. The fire was not burning. It did not burn, didn't singe the hairs on our hands or anything like this. Now we actually, through our nature, imbuing our 3D reality with our presence, we actually changed the properties of fire. It was a sacred fire. It did not burn. It was hot, but it did not burn. That's the kind of power we have as a multidimensional. The more of us that are walking around on this planet, the more of us are bringing the new earth, birthing the new earth into this reality. You have many realities on top of each other. Remember that nesting doll within nesting doll within nesting doll, right? So that's how it is. So there's no limit to fifth dimension, sixth dimension, or whatever. It's our imbuement of our infinite nature in full-on free expression in our biosuit with its presence in our reality. That is what's going to change everything. Some people use the term 5D, this, the, whatever, which is fine. For me, the way I see it, I feel like that's kind of like a little bit of a truncated thing, but I really don't know better words to say it. So, you know, I go ahead and borrow those terms sometime. Maybe someone here can help with some new terms, some terms that are more descriptive. But yeah, so that's my response to that. Jenny, let me know if that was helpful, please. All right, let's see. Lilac says, oh my gosh, I'm so over. I'm sorry, guys, I'm over. I'll wrap up. All right, Jim says, love it, so true. After that happened, I left them. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry to cause divide. I really want to bring everybody together. Those of us who can be together, may we shall. Okay, Lilac says, how do we learn how to play with the power of our awareness? Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a great question, Lilac. That's what the whole Lightbody Academy is about, how to do that. You know, because it's not about modality or techniques. That's why it's so tricky. That's why a lot of people or a lot of teachers or way showers or whatever kind of get tripped up. It's that it doesn't work if it's centered around techniques and modality. So So yeah, if you want to know information on how to do that, please let me know. I can send you that, or I'll post it to the group. I'll post some information for that on the group. So if you guys are interested in upping your game and the power of your presence, you can pursue that. Jim says, okay, oh yeah, okay, I read what Jim said. All right, Selena, welcome, welcome. There is mention of Clean Earth issue in Hale Minnick's most recent documentary on YouTube. That all will be renewed. I've heard different prophecies about this too. Yeah, so we're going into a completely different reality, which means the priority systems of the collective are completely different than how they are now. So as we imbue with our presence in this 3D reality more, the value systems change. What becomes important, what was important is no longer important, and the purpose of our society changes. That's what it's about. We will care about the health of the oceans, because we'll understand how the oceans impact symbiotically our dream time, our awareness of who we are, our ability to float through realities and with our imagination and with our awareness. That's all impacted by the health of the waters, right? So we're in this amazing time of transition, and I'm sorry, I wish I had a better way to say this, because I don't like making people wrong, because I don't believe in the wrong thing, right? But I feel like it's a truncated understanding. It's a truncated understanding. The pollution and everything that's going on is a state of the human consciousness. It's not actually a unchangeable state of nature, okay? Because remember, all of this that's out here lives in here. So it's about the pollution of humanity's consciousness, the purposefully fed poisons within our realities that's in that 4D canopy. That's what it's about. We clean that up and everything's going to instantly change. I'm so sorry. All right, let me get back. Hopefully that was helpful, what I just said. Thank you, darling, for that. Abby says, I had to pause and do a cup demo you had showed us. And I feel everything you said I should. Oh, wow. And when I took a drink, finally, I felt very differently. Oh, cool. Yay. She says it's hard to explain, but she felt different. That's cool, Abby. Thank you so much for that share. That's awesome. Did you get abducted? Well, that's a question out of left field. Yes, many times, for every night for about 10 years when I was very young, started when I was a toddler. That's a long story. I don't go into that very often. It's a long story, but ultimately it was, though traumatic, it was a gift on another level, because it provided me with abilities before my time, so to speak. You know, it provided me with abilities that beings, not a lot of beings had. And those were all abilities really essential for my growth. So even though there's a lot of what would say painful or suffering with all that, there was something else in there for me. There was beauty in there too. So just to tap that one up. Okay, thank you. All right, it would be fun to walk on water. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Okay, I have to wrap up, guys. I'm so sorry. I totally went over, but hopefully I shared everything, that I answered all the questions clearly, and it really helped you guys. I really appreciate you all being here. I love that I get to do this with you guys, because I mean, to have this kind of conversation, this level of conversation, is just really awesome. All right, so Jim says, no wrong or right at all. All roads lead to Rome, so to say. Yeah, they do, don't they? Okay, Ginny, one more thing. If they are enough people of like mind in one area, the reality changes. Yes, for those people, it does. That's right. And then if enough come into this new understanding, we will change the reality of where we live. But this means we do all we can to address. Oh my gosh, hold on a second, guys. It's cutting off, so I can't see the comment. Oh, I'm getting there. Okay, thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna get to this last thing, but this still means we do all we can do to address and clear Earth, and then it can and does become a new reality. You hold true what is true for you. You live your purpose. You live your desires. You live your radiance, and don't ever waver in that. Focus all your energy on that, and all of this will be taken care of. All of this will follow suit. Okay, you see what I mean? So we don't need to lament and reach out. we need to stay here and do what is true for us, like that. That's how we change the world. That's why changing ourselves can change the world. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, with that, I'm saying goodbye. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Take care.